Welcome to what makes this company great. The company today is Starbucks. This is our case study. And not only are we going to look at what makes this company great, but we're also going to answer the question, is Starbucks financially world class? And I'll give you a hint. At the end of this, I'm going to compare Starbucks to McDonald's, two very different companies, two very different strategies. One of them produces the highest amount of return. Which one do you think it is? You've got McDonald's doing a low-cost strategy, and you've got Starbucks doing a differentiation strategy. So what makes Starbucks unique? Well, there's 35,000, almost 36,000 stores worldwide. There's 87,000 plus drink combinations possible. Seasonal drinks, secret menus, and each city has its own special Starbucks mug. As I say, there's about 36,000 stores, and about half, a little bit over half, are company owned, and a little bit less than half are licensed. What's interesting is what I'm going to show you now, which is the company owned and operated account for 82% of the revenue, despite the fact that they account for just a little bit over 50% of the number of stores. Here we can see that licensed stores account for only 12% of revenue. Of course, there's other places, there's other revenue that they're getting. Let me just take a moment and say hi to everybody. So Hillary, great to see you. I see you keep progressing in your karate, as I believe it is. So good to see you. Way to go. Yeah. And there is Tirada. Yes. And Supernat, good afternoon. Good to see you guys. All right, let's continue on and understand more about Starbucks. So also, if we look at the company, we can see, that there's 16,000 stores in the US, 6,000 in China, 2,000 in Canada, almost 17,000, almost 1,800 in Japan, 1,156 in UK. That's a heck of a lot of stores. Now, in some countries like US, it is both own and licensed stores. In some countries, it's licensed only. Kanin, good to see you. Excellent. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we can say hi. Yep, good to see you. All right. So the main beverage products, according to Starbucks' annual report, is 74% coming from beverage, 22% from food, and 4% from others. So what's interesting to me about Starbucks compared to the situation of other, let's say Thailand, is that in Thailand, food is a much bigger component of coffee shops. And that's because the per capita consumption is much lower. But with Starbucks, they get mainly beverage. So welcome, everyone. Yep. Patipat, good to see you. Yep. And also, yeah, isn't that amazing? China is massive and growing fast and growing fast. So let's look into Howard Schultz. He was born in 1953. He's a former CEO and chairman. He joined Starbucks in 1982. Remember, it was already an existing shop, but he came in to say, let's transform this to become a global brand. And as I recall, he still owns like 1.8, 1.9% of the total shares in the company. He's credited with popularizing the concept of the third place, a comfortable social gathering spot outside of home and work. For me, I like to go to Times Square Starbucks right here near Sukhumvit Soi 12. And that's a place where I like to just sit down and take notes and relax and read. He stepped down as CEO in 2000, but returned in 2008 to guide Starbucks through the global financial crisis. He finally stepped down in 2022. Now, I have a story that I want to tell you about something that I saw amazing about Starbucks. Before I do, let's just say hi. Samuel, good to see you. So, just before the COVID crisis, Starbucks sold the rights to sell Starbucks products to Nestle, and Nestle then could market those products through its channels. The result is Nestle paid a huge amount of cash up front to Starbucks. So going into the COVID crisis, Starbucks had already had a massive inflow of cash. And so they had a huge amount of cash going into the crisis. And that's the reason why Starbucks actually came through the COVID crisis very strong. Again, what you see during the COVID time is small, medium-sized business got killed. Large business somehow were able to survive. And I guess the lesson is try to make your business as big as possible, as fast as possible. Seems like um, there was a problem. My computer crashed, but it's coming back. It looks like back to life. We had a lot of questions coming in and comments, but let's continue on. I've already talked a little bit about Howard Schultz. Let's talk about the success of the Starbucks app. 26% of sales comes from mobile apps alone. There's a strong loyalty program. You earn stars and redeem them for free drinks, and they've added gift cards to the app. And of course, customer convenience. You order, pay, and skip the line. As we know, we're very familiar with the green apron, but the green is the classic, but black is a coffee master, and pale blue is happy hour, and orange in the Netherlands is King Day celebration. So the original store opened in 1971 in Seattle, and the founders basically were teachers and a writer who all loved coffee, but they weren't focused on making a global brand, that's for sure. Starbucks, here's an interesting article. Starbucks claims $181 million in revenue from unused gift cards and loyalty credits. That's about 1% of sales and 4% of net income. This is just free money. This is why companies do loyalty programs, because they know people will pay money up front and gift cards, and what will happen is that they won't redeem them. This is incredible. So let's look at the competitive position of Starbucks. It's in the consumer discretionary sector. There's 402,000 employees, $27 billion in revenue. And the main segments, of course, are the coffee beverages, Frappuccino, and then Starbucks Reserve. And the competitive advantage comes through strong brand loyalty, premium coffee experience, and global expansion. And they achieved it by creating a unique coffee house atmosphere, focusing on high quality beans, providing personalized customer experiences, and building a strong global presence through franchising and company owned stores. You know, in my business, Coffee Works here in Thailand, we supply a lot of coffee shops. And what we see is that a lot of times coffee shops would just go for the lowest price blends. And what ends up happening is you don't really satisfy the coffee lovers. And what Starbucks does is they try to really do the best blends, and they've got nitro, cold doing. Ask the question, is the company financially world class? Well, here's the method I use as an investor and business owner to measure whether a company has a competitive advantage. The world-class benchmarking scorecard that we developed about 10 years ago. And this is how we construct a scorecard for any company. We gather the yearly and quarterly financial data of 26,000 companies worldwide. And then we calculate each company's profitable growth score, which is a composite measure of both profitability and growth. After that, we rank the subject company relative to sector peers of similar size. It's a decile ranking, so number 1 is best, and a score of 1 or 2 is financially world-class. And we assess the company's performance over the prior 4 years and the past 12 months. So, is the company financially world-class? Well, first, let's look at McDonald's. We saw that McDonald's was financially world-class. It's a very different type of company, a company that's not trying to make a third place, and it's not trying to be fancy. It's trying to keep the cost as low as possible. And here's Starbucks. And the answer to the question is yes, Starbucks is financially world class. Now, I think that this is such a great case study when we look at Starbucks and McDonald's, because what it teaches us is that you can achieve competitive advantage by any method. You need to choose the method that's right for you and for your company. But you could be low cost, you could be differentiating. They will both get you to the end goal of having a competitive advantage. You just have to pick one. You can't do two. Now, I thought we would just look at the net profit margins, because I like to look at those that understand the profitability of the business. McDonald's is just amazing. They're getting 26, 27 to 33% net profit margin. And here's Starbucks at 17 and down to 12.3% profit margin in 2022. Still at 12%, it's double the global average of about 6%, but it's considerably below McDonald's. So the winner as far as building a bigger competitive advantage, well, both have a competitive advantage, but on the net margin side, McDonald's is really rocking. So is your company financially world-class? What is the path that you are taking to become financially world-class? Do you lead a company with $15 million or more in revenue? If so, just message me and I'll score your company. Sorry about the technical difficulties today, but that wraps up what makes this company great. The company is Starbucks. And yes, in fact, it is great.